Hello, everybody. Tim is here, along with
Maggie.
Maggie, as usual. That's her go-to signature hello. We are live here to talk about something magical that I've been teasing for a while. That's probably going to get me a bunch of flack. You know, lately on the YouTubes here, I've been called a Sally. I've been accused of eating a lot of cheeseburgers, and all those things are true. And if any of those things will be more true tonight or than ever, it will be tonight because I'm about to piss a lot of people off. But I think that we're on the same page for most of this. Maybe we don't mean to offend anyone or be mean to anybody. These are just we're going to be talking about three movies that necessarily were received pretty well by critics and audiences alike. But for us specifically, they either just like missed the mark a little bit, or we thought they were really good movies. We don't understand like the huge attention that they're getting. And there's actually quite a few we could talk about. Like for me specifically, like Black Klansman is a movie that I really 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 liked, but I don't think is like Best Picture worthy. Maggie thinks it's like one of the best movies of the year. So we're not going to be talking about those movies. We're going to be talking about a few that we both saw and were like, oh, we didn't really love that. And then we got home and checked the like Rotten Tomatoes score, what our friends were saying, and they all loved these movies. So we're just on the back end of these. So we're going to be talking about three of them. And again, we don't mean to piss anybody off, but we are going to be, going into a little bit of the reasons why these movies specifically didn't really work for us. So the first one that we're going to talk about, which is more going to be me because Maggie's actually only seen this movie once. I've seen it twice now, and I just rewatched it for this video, is Hereditary. The film directed by Ari Aster came out back in July?
I don't remember.
Basically, here's and another thing we'll do is we'll go through our journeys with this movie. So Hereditary was being touted for a while as the hottest new horror film to be coming from A24, and I loved The Witch. I loved It Comes at Night, and so I was really looking forward to Hereditary. I was pumped to see it in the theater, and Maggie over here did not want to see it in the theater, right? Why, Maggie?
Well, so I have a love-hate relationship with horror movies. There are some that I just like absolutely love and can watch like unabashedly in the theater. Like It, I did not have a problem for some reason seeing in the theater. Like Halloween, did not have a problem watching that movie in the theater. But some movies I watch the trailers and I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And Hereditary was definitely one of them.
Okay.
And so when I'm afraid of a movie, my go-to thing is to go on Wikipedia and read the plot. So that's what I did before this movie came out. So I kind of knew some stuff of what was going to happen before we saw it.
Some stuff? You knew the whole movie?
Well, I knew the whole thing, yeah. But it didn't stop me from, like, closing my eyes during the scary parts. I just knew when it was going to happen. But I don't know. I liked The Witch, too. I would say I didn't like it as much as you.
Okay.
And in general, yeah, I was expecting it to be like an It Follows kind of thing, where like I really had no idea what it was, but people were telling me it was good, and then we went in and it was like really amazing.
Yeah.
And I did not. And it's not just because I was like scared and didn't want to watch it, because trust me, I was scared during It Follows, and I was scared during It, and I was scared during Halloween. But it just didn't do it for me, I guess.
Yeah, so I finally convinced her to go to the theater, and like she said, she watched or she read through the whatchamacallit, the Wikipedia. And so we went to the theater, and I knew nothing other than what I had seen in the trailers. And I think that's gonna be another thing about these three movies that we talk about is the trailers. I feel were all a little mismarketed. I feel like Hereditary was marketed to me as kind of just like this creepy, like family drama horror esque thing.
That's true. Yeah.
And basically something was creepy. Oh, and I forgot to say this at the top. Full spoilers for every movie we talk about here today because these have all been out. Every movie we talk about, Hereditary is the oldest one I think we're going to talk about in June. So if you haven't seen it,
Hereditary is not the oldest.
out of the three, or I mean the newest. I'm sorry, the
Yes.
newest out of the ones we've talked about, and that was in June. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm sorry, we're gonna spoil some stuff. So basically, from the trailers, though, what I got out of Hereditary was like, okay, it's gonna be like a creepy family horror thing. Something's going on with Toni Collette. It seems like the mother has passed away, and that is exactly it. The movie started, the mother's died. There's some creepy stuff going on with like her dolls that she like makes. She makes all the dolls and everything, but basically when the first like 30 minutes of Hereditary are pretty horror movie cliche, step by step, exactly what I was expecting. Like nothing that I was I don't know. It was pretty much generic. And there is a scene about 30 minutes in with the young daughter. I believe the daughter's name is Charlie, something like that. And again, full spoilers. There's a scene in the car where the brother's driving and the girl gets her head like clean swept off. There's a lot of stuff in that scene going forward before that about like showing about how you know the girl's like allergic to peanuts, and they show like how she didn't know she was eating peanuts. That's why she starts having the allergic thing. It's a very, very well done scene, and that scene I was like, oh my god, this is taking a turn that I wasn't expecting. And then all of a sudden it becomes this boring, slow, drawn out amalgamation of every horror movie I've ever seen. It becomes a haunted house movie, then it becomes a possession movie, then it becomes a talking to ghosts movie, then it becomes a cult movie, and
there's a demon.
And a demon movie. Yes, there's a demon too within the cult, and it's just like there's so much happening that I can commend the director, the writer. I believe he wrote and directed it, Ari Aster. So like I commend him. As a directorial debut, I would never be able to direct a movie this good. So like commend that 100%. But just overall, the movie is just like it's trying to be so many things. Like it just doesn't work. It doesn't. It's not. I wish they would have picked one thing to go with, like the cult thing. Just run with that. I don't need everything else. The cult thing is actually probably the most interesting thing in the movie. And if you happen to have the demon thing with the cult, fine. But don't give me the weird haunted house stuff and the possession stuff and the talking to the ghosts stuff. Like, I don't need it. That being said, the performances are incredible. Toni Collette, especially, is really, really good in the movie. Out of the three we're talking about, this is probably the best performances,
Like in general, the best movie of the three that we're talking about, I would say.
I would say the most well-made, maybe not the most rewatchable.
No, not rewatchable, but yeah, well-made. That's what I mean.
The best well-made, yeah. So do you have anything else? I know you don't have a lot to say about Hereditary.
No, I mean, the kid was good. Alex Wolf?
Yeah, I think it's Alex.
I think it's Alex. He was really good.
I think so. One of the Naked Brothers.
There's that one scene towards the end where there's like, I think, doesn't somebody start on fire or something? Something on fire that I remember that's burned in my brain.
Well, yeah, and then there's the whole thing where he goes up into the attic and Toni Collette's cutting her head off and everything. That.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just, I don't know. I feel like for all three of these movies, there was just a lot of hype too.
Yes.
And it let us down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. It's like we saw Hereditary. I believe it had opened in limited release prior to us seeing it, and then it came closer to where we were living. So we saw it after many, many people had seen it and touted it as the next biggest horror movie. And I'm gonna be honest, like a movie like It is very commercial, blockbuster horror schlock,
Halloween too.
And even Halloween, yeah. That are very generic horror movies. So I completely understand that me sitting here saying that Hereditary is like something I've seen 1,000 times before, but then me saying that I liked Halloween 2018 is very hypocritical, and I do acknowledge that. It's just that in this instance, this just didn't work for me. I just don't see how this movie can be like the biggest horror movie ever. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
And I think you made a good point earlier when we were talking about it before we started the video, just how like it really does, other than being well made, it doesn't do a whole lot to progress the genre.
No.
Whereas A Quiet Place,
yeah,
on the other hand, did do a whole lot to progress the genre. So.
Agreed. Okay, so that's Hereditary. That's probably the one we're going to have the least to say about, but we did wanted to bring it up because I just remember we both saw it and we turned to each other, and I think she was expecting me to be like, I loved it, and I just was like...
Yeah. Well, and just like every list we've watched this year, whether it's like mid-year lists or not like end-of-the-year lists, a lot of the like online lists are like Hereditary is one of the best movies of the year, and I was like, please stop.
Please stop. Okay, so the next, actually both movies we're going to talk about next are Marvel films.
They are.
So the first one we're going to talk about is Deadpool 2.
Yes.
This is probably the movie on this list of 3 that we have that I dislike the most.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I don't know why I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, I saw it
we've
twice.
We've seen it too many times for the amount, because every time I come out angrier. Every time. Yeah. And so I don't know why we keep watching it.
I've seen it, I think I've seen it 5 times now, if you include Once Upon a Deadpool, which we'll get to. So Deadpool opened in May, about, I think it was 3 weeks after Avengers Infinity War and a week before Solo. And Solo is another movie that we could talk about being overrated, but
like, you liked it. So.
I liked it. I didn't love it, but it's most people thought it was either fine or so. The reason we're talking about Deadpool 2 is I know a lot of people will admit it's not as good as the first one. They fully admit that, but this thing has like an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the audience score is in like the 60s or 70s. So the majority of people who walked out of Deadpool 2 enjoyed it. They might not have loved it, but I walked out of Deadpool 2 disliking it. And you can go back and watch my original review. I believe Maggie was in that review, actually. I think you were. I'm pretty sure you were. But so we saw it the Thursday night that it opened on a Marcus Theaters Ultra Screen with your brother, I believe. And leading up to Deadpool 2, so the first Deadpool was in my top 10 of the year in 2016.
I love the first Deadpool. We watch that all the time.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't say that it's a perfect movie by any means, but it's really fun.
It's really enjoyable.
It's a good time. So we go to, leading up to Deadpool 2, the marketing once again was fantastic. I love the trailer, the Toy Story joke between Deadpool and Cable. The trailers made me believe that we were going to get a great villain in Cable. Who we knew eventually he would probably become friends with by the end of the movie. But really great villain in Cable. And then we were also pumped because they put out like that video of like the Deadpool cinematic universe, and Deadpool sitting there. He's like, if you could have told me that in 10 years we would have this expansive 2-film universe, I would have called you crazy. Like, that's really funny because, again, this is a few weeks after Infinity War, and Infinity War was 20 movies, blah, blah, blah. So it was very, very funny. Yep. They did a very funny job of marketing the film as they did with the first one. I don't think the marketing was quite as good, but it was still...
Well, they didn't have the whole Valentine's thing to go off of.
That's true. But I was really looking forward to it. I thought Domino looked cool. I thought that trailer where they show the invisible dude and... what's his face? Oh God, what is the guy's the
Peter?
Peter, thank you. Peter. That trailer was so funny. So then the movie comes out, and I'm pumped. We're pumped. And what were your thoughts while watching the movie?
Well, the beginning was fine. The whole, like, even through, like, that weird...
Fuck Wolverine.
No, not that part.
The opening.
I know, but I'm saying, like, through the weird James Bond thing,
I
was like, whatever, I get it. This is Deadpool being Deadpool.
Yeah.
And then even, like, the part where he's at the X mansion or whatever it's called, the X-Men mansion. Yeah. And they're probably my favorite joke of the whole movie.
What does he say? Lots of white people, old white people men on the walls. Yeah.
That joke like killed me. And like that whole thing. And then I was like, all right, so they're going to like get him to like be like an X-Men trainee or whatever. And then we meet Russell and everything pretty much goes
to shit
downhill from there. So I think it was probably during the prison scene. Like, I think it was probably the part where he gets, like, stabbed in the hand or whatever. That I was like, wait, why is this happening? I was like, what is going on?
This movie's also, just to interrupt you, sorry, an hour and 59 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
When that prison stuff's happening, we're like 45 minutes into the movie.
But I have really no qualms with the first 30 minutes.
Except for the fact that there's like no plot.
Oh, right.
And the real plot of the movie doesn't kick in until 45 minutes into the movie.
This is true. You're not wrong. Maybe that's my problem with it. I really hate movies that don't have plots.
It has a plot. It just comes in really late. Yeah. And it expects you to care about Russell, who's a little shit. I don't care about Russell at all. Russell is probably my least favorite character of 2018. Like, that's not true. That's probably not true. But I just cannot stand Russell as a character. And so I don't buy the emotional attachment of, like, literally, like, there's a scene where, and don't even get me started on the whole Deadpool and Vanessa talking to each other in heaven thing.
You don't like that?
No. Not even a little bit. I think it's stupid. But they're talking up there, and he realizes, the kid, the only reason he cares about Russell at all is so that he can be with Vanessa.
Right.
There's no emotional reason for him to be.
Well, and that's so clear in the prison scene, because literally, like, he drives him away and is like, leave me alone, because he doesn't care about him.
Yeah, and so the only reason he tries to save him and be his friend and protect him, even up to the ending, which is atrocious, that like 5 death scene is
not funny.
Is so bad. Up to that point, like, you just don't buy him actually caring for Russell.
Not even a little.
And so it just does not work in the slightest. My biggest thing is Russell. I can't stand him. But I'm actually mostly in agreement with you, though. The first 30 minutes or so are fun. The jokes aren't as good, but I like the origin of Cable, why he's coming. But yeah, getting this whole Russell thing where it's just like, I don't remember Russell being in the trailers at all, except for I remember the scene where he like does that or whatever. Yeah. Like, I remember that in the trailers, but they don't like go deep into saying like Deadpool has to help the kid.
Yeah,
or whatever.
No, it's that's not. There's like a part where he's like, you see like a train or something that was transporting them away from the prison, and it was like, here's the plan: save the kid, watch out for Cable.
Oh, okay. So one line.
Yeah.
The best part of the movie is that X-Force scene.
I was gonna say that.
Everything with X-Force is hilarious. The bait and switch of it not actually being like an X-Force thing, and all of them dying in 2 minutes, and Brad Pitt being one of them, and like all of that is
hilarious.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And it just then once again goes off the rails. I feel like there are too many points in this movie where I was like, okay, it's getting good. I love this. Oh my God. And then it shits out.
Yeah. I don't know. I had a really big problem with that character. Shoot. What is his name? The big one.
Colossus?
Colossus.
No, not Colossus. Not Colossus. Juggernaut.
Juggernaut. I had a really big issue with him because I feel like they put him in the movie literally so that they would get buzz about Juggernaut being in the movie.
Well, they didn't market him at all.
I know, but they knew that by putting him in, people were going to be like, hey, dude, Juggernaut's so cool. He's in 2 scenes, and he does nothing.
And the CGI is bad.
Except rip Deadpool apart literally for the jokes about his baby penis. That's all that he serves.
Yeah, and the CGI on him is really bad.
That fight between Colossus and Juggernaut is just awful.
Well, and the fact that they acknowledge it, like, big CGI fight, like, you acknowledging it is better. Well, it's not even that. It's like they make the whole shtick of Deadpool. The first one was that it was a low budget movie. Oh, I guess we didn't have it enough in the budget to get more X-Men, or like the superhero landing, like making fun of superhero movies and their cliches. But then you do the cliches in the movie. You have big Colossus Juggernaut fight that is feeding into the cliche that you're making fun of. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. And again, I love Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. There are so many parts of this movie that I love. The "if you could turn back time" post-credit scene is hilarious. There are so many things, but I just feel like there are so many moments in this movie where I'm like, this is it. It's finally getting there. And then it falls again. And the third act is like atrocious.
I always sleep through. I think every time except for the first 2 times we saw it in the theater, I've slept through it.
The dubstep is obnoxious.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it is. It's just
I don't
obnoxious.
get it. Like, what is the joke?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there were just a lot of missed opportunities. And again, I want to be clear, like I was saying with Hereditary, I could never make a movie. I tried. I failed miserably. It's terrible. It's on this YouTube channel. It's horrible. But so I can never do what they do, but we're in a world where schlops like us can like complain about movies on the internet, and I just feel like they phoned it in on this one.
I would agree. I feel like that's a good way to explain it. I felt it was very much like a Fox sequel. Like, not gonna lie, like, I'd rather watch this than X-Men Apocalypse, but like,
that's a low bar. That's true. I just think that if they had focused more on the Cable thing, and Cable as a villain and then becoming a friend, cool. But everything with Russell, I just can't stand it.
Well, and then my other problem with how they handled Cable was that all of a sudden he just like changed his mind.
Yep.
He just gave up his whole motivation for this guy that he doesn't even really like.
Yeah, for no reason. And
for no reason. It's really not explained. Like, and that's the same thing with like, I feel like it's the same sort of level of explanation they give for Deadpool caring about Russell. Like, it's kind of there, but is it really strong enough for everything else that you've said about the character? Because I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know in what world that Cable travels back in time to avenge his kid's death and decides not to do that because of some trash mouth guy in a red suit.
Well, I mean, he still saves his family.
I know, but he gave up his chance to go back and be with them.
Yeah, for Deadpool,
And then the other trope that's kind of dumb is he's all like, I only have one like thing left for turning back time. But then in 5 seconds, Negasonic Teenage Warhead fixes it.
Oh yeah, also completely underused Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Completely underused.
The Yu-Gi-Oh joke is funny.
Hi Wade, like that, or bye Wade. Yeah, that's funny. That is funny.
Hi Yu-Gi-Oh.
Hi Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah. Like I said, there's moments that I love. Now, to further this, Once Upon a Deadpool was just released in theaters. You can find my review on this channel where I talk about how much I was disappointed by that. I don't remember if you were in that review or not. I don't think so. Basically, it comes down to this. It really is Fox wanting more money.
It really is.
They gave I think it was either $1 or $2 of every ticket sold to fuck cancer. That's awesome. Cool on you. Do that from your Blu-ray sales. Do that from something else.
Right.
But to re-release this movie as a PG-13 movie did not work.
No.
Editing was sloppy. The movie was sloppy. That being said, the Fred Savage stuff, hilarious. Loved every Fred Savage scene. I really did. I genuinely liked the Fred Savage stuff in Once Upon a Deadpool more than anything else in the actual movie.
Yeah.
And that's 100% the truth.
Yeah, it was just like a waste.
Yep.
And like and they think that they're cool because they acknowledge that it's a money grab. Like there's some marketing thing. I think it was a Fred Savage thing where he was like, it's just Fox doing a money grab, but it was supposed to be funny because he's in the movie. But that's exactly what they're doing.
I mean, they can too. People went and saw it. It made like an extra $5 million. So I mean, we went and saw it. I paid full price for it. So I mean, well, we saw it on a discount day, but still, like, I think that what I said in that review is Deadpool can work in a PG-13 world. Just recutting the same movie as a PG-13 movie was not a good choice.
No. And I don't see, and like, I can't imagine that fans are going to be happy if you do, unless the Fox Disney thing goes through and Disney is like, no thanks. I don't see fans being okay ever with a PG-13 Deadpool now that we've had 2 rated R movies.
I don't know how true this is, but I did read after the fact after us seeing Once Upon a Deadpool, me putting up my review, that Bob Iger, basically the king of Disney, has gone on the record saying that if the Fox deal were to go through, that they would not PG-13 Deadpool, that it would, because the way that it's going to work, going on a tangent here, it would still be like you would still get the dun 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 dun. You'd still get the Fox thing, and it would still be a 20th Century Fox movie. It would just be distributed by Disney the same way that Disney distributes Marvel movies, but you don't get like the Disney logo before your MCU movie. So you would still get like the Fox. There's the same thing with Lucasfilm. You get Lucasfilm, but you don't get a Disney logo before it. But at the end, it's distributed by Disney. So they would be distributing Fox's movies. Mm-hmm. So you would still get like an Alien Covenant rated R sequel. And so Bob Iger has said that Deadpool would probably stay rated R. The reason that's tricky then is because do the X-Men and Deadpool go to the MCU, which is never going to be rated R. So that's kind of the waters right now. So he's saying it would stay rated R, mm-hmm. but then Deadpool would have to stay really different from the MCU, and Kevin Feige is like on the record being like, I'm ready to put these X-Men in the MCU. And Deadpool has heavily relied on the X-Men in the two movies. So, yeah. Anything else to add about Deadpool 2? It's a waste of time.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a waste of time, but I really hope that they do better.
Same. Okay. So, this next one, the final movie. Wait, what? This what?
Nothing. Continue.
I think that Maggie elegantly said it before. I want you to say exactly. Okay. The third film we're going to talk about, which is the one that I think people are going to be the most like heebity-jeebity about, is we are going to talk about Black Panther as the most, in my opinion, the most overrated film of the year. Mm-hmm. And why don't you start off exactly what you said?
Sure. So the cultural significance of this movie is huge, and we're not like discounting that at all. Like at all. This movie is like amazingly significant. The fact that Disney put it out, the fact that the MCU did like a nearly all African American cast. This movie will go down in film history, and this movie will change film history. Now, the way that we're talking about it is considering it solely as the 18th MCU movie. We're just considering it as like the next superhero movie, the same way we would talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Which is also, well, but most people think it's fine.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So we completely...
There was one good Marvel movie released this year.
Completely acknowledging...
Oh, Spider-Man is good too.
The cultural significance of the movie. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the plot. We're talking about the character development. We're talking about the story. We're talking about the visual effects. That's what we're talking about.
Yes. Okay. Yes. And I would also like to add, I think Black Panther is a good movie.
I think it's fun to watch. It's easier to watch than Deadpool, let me tell you.
Because we just rewatched it.
We rewatched it
like 2 days ago. It's very rewatchable. It's got good performances. Mm-hmm. I see Cody Newberry in the comments saying it's the Lion King.
It is the Lion King.
And it is the Lion King. We'll get to that.
And the women in this movie kill. They are so good. When we were rewatching it the other day, I was like, damn, they are so good compared to the male counterparts in this movie.
Yes. But we're going to talk about, like Maggie said, we're going to talk about things outside of the cultural significance of this movie. So take that away. Comparing, and I'm going to compare Black Panther to many other a superhero film. So, and the reason is because right now it is December 29th, 2018. This movie came out back in February. Again, full spoilers. But right now, December 29th, 2018, this movie is up for a lot of film awards. Mm-hmm. It's being nominated for Best Pictures, SAG Awards for Best Ensemble, Golden Globe Awards, and pretty soon, and don't mistake me, Black Panther will be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. Mm-hmm. It will be. And if it's not, I will be genuinely shocked.
Well, and I think that comes a lot to the cultural significance of the movie. Yes. And I think that this movie being nominated for Best Picture, I've gotten over it. And I think that it is a good thing for the genre.
Yes. So, that all being said, this movie compared to The Dark Knight.
Right, that's what you were comparing it
That's what I'm comparing it to start off. Not necessarily the movie, but the cultural significance of, or not the cultural significance of them. How do I say? So the fact that, yes, that
the reception?
The reception of it, in the sense that The Dark Knight came out in 2008, only 5 movies could be nominated for Best Picture, and it didn't get nominated. And that really irked a lot of people. And I think that there hasn't been a superhero movie since The Dark Knight that has been worthy of being nominated for Best Picture. Mm-hmm. And I love superhero movies. Guardians of the Galaxy, Winter Soldier, The Dark Knight. I even love The Dark Knight Rises to pieces, which most people don't really like that movie. I love it. Infinity War, even. None of those movies, in my opinion, are Best Picture at the Oscars worthy, even though I love them. Even though Infinity War is probably going to be in my top 5 of the year, it's not a Best Picture candidate. Mm-hmm. And I just can't see how Black Panther is
over like something like The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The Dark Knight is like, it's like a film. It's like something that was like so well made, and it does transcend the genre. Where this, I feel like it's a serviceable MCU movie. It hits all the same beats that almost every other origin film in the MCU has hit.
Yeah.
And I like those movies too, but I also recognize their flaws, and I feel like a lot of people are in denial about the flaws of Black Panther.
Yes. I 100% agree. I think that if a movie like The Last Jedi can get torn apart to literally shreds over little plot points and little things here and there, and tiny performances and weird off, like, Canto Bite stuff, that this movie should be equally as torn apart. And again, it's a good movie. It really is. It's fun to watch. It's entertaining, but there's so much about it that is just schlock. Specifically, to start off, the CGI in this movie is terrible. It's so bad. It's just terrible. The scene when T'Challa comes out for the the not Coronation Day, but
like the fight
thing with
it
M'Baku.
Basically is his coronation.
Yeah, but he walks out there and it pans up to all of the different tribes up on the rocks and stuff. Holy shit, it's terrible. Terrible CGI. When there's the rubber people falling at the end, when Black Panther and Killmonger are like falling in the air, they look like little plastic rubber people. And I don't know if that's because Marvel was just like, the CGI is fine. We're working on Infinity War. And I do genuinely believe that Marvel did not know how big this movie was going to be, because had they known, they would have put even an extra $50 million behind it. I think this movie cost $200 million to make.
The CGI in the next one will be better.
Oh, 100%. Again, the CGI is just really bad. Those rhinos in the third act look like shit. I'm sorry, and I've thought that since the first time I saw this movie. I was the only one in the theater because I watched it alone after hours at work. So I had nobody else to influence me. The CGI is terrible. It's awful. Do you have anything to say about the CGI? Like, Jesus.
Not really.
Okay, what's our next bullet point? Because we made bullet points.
Well, so they're not really in order. I guess we could talk about the plot next. And one of those things is, it is like The Lion King. Not that that's bad, but it is very similar to The Lion King. We were rewatching The Lion King the other day, and I was like, wait, this is Black Panther. Why is this happening?
Yep.
And granted, The Lion King is based on Hamlet, so it's a classic reusing of a classic story. So that's like a thing.
And many films do that. Like a movie I love, Avatar, is Dances with Wolves. We get it. Mm-hmm. It's just like a little too much the same for us to talk.
Well, the real problem, I think, is that it really does hit the same exact beats. Well, not the same exact beats, but pretty close, that other Marvel movie origin stories do. Specifically, the problem is, I know that Killmonger is a great villain, and I acknowledge that he is better developed than almost any villain, obviously, other than like Thanos or Loki. Mm-hmm. But he's the same thing that Black Panther is, and they're fighting. Where have we seen that before?
Oh, we saw that in Iron Man. We saw that in Iron Man 2. We saw that in Ant-Man. We saw that in many
Many a film.
Many a superhero film. Kind of Winter Soldier. They're both
Hulk.
They're both the Incredible Hulk. Yeah. There's a lot. That's kind of like that is an inherent comic book thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I thought we were done with that.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is like Killmonger could have been something different.
Right. And
he didn't need to be. He could still have the power of the Black Panther, but he didn't
even need the power of the Black Panther. Let's be honest. Everyone loved him before that moment because that didn't happen until right in the end. And he was badass before then.
Yeah. But the whole point is the king has the power of the Black Panther. I know. He could have had the power of the Black Panther, but the fact that he's in the suit with the same exact powers, but it's a different color is just, it's very frustrating from a viewer like me's perspective. It's very frustrating to see something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
he disappears. That's another big.
Yeah, so in the plot too, getting into that, Killmonger also is not in like a giant chunk of this movie. He is introduced in a very cool scene with Andy Serkis, which I'll also get into, but then all of a sudden just disappears for a very long time, and he's just like the star of the third act, and I just don't think the third act is also very good. So I think the third act just falls into normal Marvel movie schlock. Again, love Marvel movies, but it's just the same thing. So that's why I'm saying it's not bad necessarily. It's just the same thing. So for people to just like tout it as like this masterpiece of a film when it's the same thing. It's the same exact movie we've seen 1,000 times. Why is it any different? It baffles me. It truly baffles me.
Yeah.
And then another thing, talking about characters like Killmonger, a lot of the characters in this movie are extremely underdeveloped. Especially Okoye and W'Kabi. They just have this romance that's talked about twice.
And it's kind of pivotal to the plot at the end for some reason, but we don't know why it exists or how it exists. It's just there.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And then also just like, I think like most of the character, like I said, most of the characters other than Killmonger are underdeveloped, even T'Challa.
Well, but T'Challa has Civil War, and I feel like that helps him a lot.
Yeah, so you know his relationship with his father.
Because I feel like the devastation when he finds out that his father killed his brother, I think that's really...
It's earned.
Clear, and it's earned.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, I would agree with that. So I take that one.
Because that is like that's his whole, like, that's a big part of his arc.
Yeah. Shuri is awesome.
Yeah, like I said, the women in this movie are.
Well, the women are awesome. They're cool, but Shuri is probably the most developed of them.
Right.
I think that
Okoye is there.
But she's awesome. Like,
she's awesome. No, I'm talking about like in terms of if we're talking underdeveloped, like why she has to be loyal to the crown other than she took some oath. Like, does that need more explaining, or am I crazy?
No, I mean, I think my main thing with her is just like the thing with W'Kabi is like you're expected to like care that they are an item.
Yeah.
And it does you don't at all. And then Nakia is kind of like a mixed one because you get the idea that she's kind of like she's left Wakanda to like help.
She's like a spy.
Yeah, to like a spy to like help these other people, but then like she's just so quick to run back to Wakanda to like be there with T'Challa. I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
And even like in the beginning when M'Baku comes out to fight T'Challa for the crown, and one of his like points is that they left like the technology to Shuri. Is that like a controversial opinion? Is that like a thing?
No, I think that's just
brings it up.
I think that's something that pisses him off because she is a child, but she's also one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe. Yeah. So I think that's more of a M'Baku thing, just like not knowing how smart she actually is. And that's actually one of the things that helps develop Shuri, in my opinion, is she's like you realize how smart she is. Something else I want to talk about revolving around the plot here is the action sequences. When you compare them to other movies, even Deadpool 2, the action in this movie is not great. You have the car chase sequence, which is very, very good, very exciting, but that's about it. The fight at the end with Killmonger is boring. It's not very exciting at all. I think that all of the giant fight with everybody in the field or whatever is whatever. It's a fight in the field. It's whatever. And again, they bring up this emotional thing you're supposed to feel, but you don't feel anything, so it doesn't add any stakes. It's just people fighting each other.
Right.
Whereas at the end, when they're fighting in a field in Infinity War, there are stakes. You know the stakes, and you've seen the stakes, and you feel them. And so them fighting in a field in that means a whole heck of a lot more. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just all the action scenes in the movie are just meh, except for that car chase. I think it's really, really good. There's a boy in this movie who we like a lot. His name is Andy Serkis.
Oh yeah.
He's completely underutilized.
Yes.
I think he was killed off way too early, and that brings up another point that you made that I think you should talk about is Killmonger's plan in this movie.
Yeah, it's very strange. Like, did you befriend Killmonger to get the vibranium to find out more about Wakanda?
Claw, you mean?
What did I say? Killmonger?
Killmonger befriends Claw.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Like, it's just really unclear if his end game was to get to Wakanda and make a claim for the throne, why not just go there? He
obviously knows where it is.
Right, you clearly know where it is, and you have the mark, so you could just walk in there and show it, and they'll be like, who are you? And you could be like, this is who I am. Because that's pretty much exactly what you did. The only difference is, for some reason, you decided to kill off Andy Serkis, and then...
So that you could show his body to W'Kabi.
And you conveniently run into W'Kabi, even though I highly doubt you actually know who W'Kabi is, but for some reason, it's conveniently W'Kabi that is the person that you show Claw to, who had been established in the movie wanted Claw dead.
Yeah.
Of everyone. And so, I don't know, it just feels really convenient, and it's confusing. Like, was his whole plot the whole time to kill
Claw?
Claw? Because I feel like you didn't need that vibranium. Did you need to befriend Claw to kill him?
Well, it's the thing is, Claw did...
You didn't need him to get to Wakanda, because you knew where it is already.
Yeah, and Claw, did everything that Killmonger wanted.
Right,
He got the vibranium.
Partners. They were just going to split the money and part ways.
Yeah, he happened to get... Careful there. He happened to get caught by Black Panther and the women and everything. He got caught, and why break him out?
Right. Why? And what was the point of,
Especially, well, I'm sorry, but, especially if you're just going to kill him, why break him out? It's frustrating.
It is, because clearly you don't, well, I guess you do want well for Wakanda, so maybe having him talking to the CIA would be bad. But you also,
yeah, I guess.
Claw hinted that if there was a vibranium sale, they were going to show up. But you weren't there. You weren't there knowing when Black Panther was going to be not in Wakanda.
So yeah, I guess if that's the case, that he wanted to be there to see who, if the king would show up, I don't know.
But you also already knew all that stuff if you just watched the footage from the bombing in Civil War.
Yeah, that T'Challa's the king. They talked about it in the news. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff in this movie that just is baffling.
It's not right, with all of them. They're not necessarily, except maybe Deadpool. They're not bad movies. It's just I don't understand, outside of the cultural significance of Black Panther, why people want to nominate it for Best Picture.
I 100% agree. There's no way that this movie is better than Infinity War. And I get that you have to have the prior knowledge of the MCU to enjoy Infinity War, and I completely understand that. But Black Panther as a standalone movie, I'm gonna be honest, there's never gonna be a time where I'm I'm in the mood to watch Black Panther. I'm gonna watch Black Panther when I'm binging the MCU, and that's about it. Or if a sequel comes out and I'm just gonna watch Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame, Black Panther 2, that might be it. But I don't know. It just, to be crowning this thing as the best superhero movie since The Dark Knight is just a load of crap. I'm sorry.
It's not better than the first Avengers.
No, it's not better than I could name 12 MCU movies. It's not better. No, God, no. And I just, I think it's not just us that feel this way. Very apparent by the chat here that there are other people that think that this movie is overrated. But again, taking all the cultural stuff out of it, it's fine. It's a good movie. Like, it really is. It's a
solid entry in the MCU.
But it's no better than Homecoming or
the first Iron Man.
The first Iron Man. It really isn't. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. I don't know what else I can say about it.
That's it.
Do you have anything else on the list? Was that it? We covered everything? Oh my God, guys. So I've been touting this video for a while, 2018 most overrated movies. I do have a couple requests in here. I've got something from, it appears the wonderful Zach Greenwood wants to talk about some Netflix movies. I've not seen Bird Box yet, so I can't talk about it. I did see Mowgli, thought it was fine, but I wouldn't really call it overrated because most people thought it was shit. I actually liked it more than I think most people. Robert Parker thinks that he can tell that we're white. That's just, he said, I'm just listening to the audio, not the video, and I can tell y'all are white nerds. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's cool. But there's quite a few movies that came out this year that got really good reviews that I thought were fine. I thought Tully was just okay. I thought Ant-Man and the Wasp, that got very good critic reviews, but overall I think most people thought that movie was just okay. There's actually a lot of schlock that I really liked. I liked The Predator, so I mean, what the fuck do I know about anything? Maybe Black Panther is the best movie ever made.
Liked Aquaman, so
that's also true. I thought Aquaman was good. I thought Aquaman was kind of better than Black Panther. So I mean, who knows what I know, but yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Again, 2018 movies that we thought were overrated. If you have any that you think are wildly overrated, be sure to comment about it in the comments below, so then we can have a chat about them there. If you think that I'm the most horrible white person ever, you can comment about that as well. If you want to call me a Sally or say that I need to eat a cheeseburger like other people recently, get me a cheeseburger and call me Sally. I don't really give a shit. So yeah, have a good time with that. Maggie, you got anything else to say?
No. It's almost the end of 2018, so you know what that means.
List time. It's gonna be lists soon. We've got, I believe, like 3 or 4 movies left to see that I want to see before we make our 2018 lists. On the Basis of Sex, If Beale Street Could Talk, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
And I guess we should watch First.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. There's a lot of movies where like
Leave No Trace I never saw. There's a few, that we got to see. But our 2018 lists, we will probably be doing that after our honeymoon, which is coming up next week. So I'll be off the grid for a while. But we will, like a week.
We'll still be on the grid.
We'll be on the grid. Oh, yeah, we will be on the grid because the Golden Globes are happening.
Yes.
On the 6th.
See movies, probably.
Yeah, I'll probably see a couple movies while we're on our honeymoon. But so those lists will be coming out mid-month. I'd say mid-January, or
we might wait till after the Oscar noms come out.
No, we won't.
Oh, okay.
So that list will be coming out soon. And then yes, we will be talking about the Oscar nominations when those come up. So be on the lookout for that, because I'm sure Margaret and I will have a ton to say about the Oscars, as I do every year. I love them. But yeah, so those are the things you can look forward to here. I've got reviews for Vice and for Roma coming soon, which are 2 movies. Oh, that was another Netflix movie that we watched. That was good, but that's not overrated. So we got reviews for that coming soon. I've just been procrastinating. So those will be coming very, very soon. So yeah, but again, overrated movies, let us know which ones you thought were overrated, or which ones tell us why we're dumb about the movies that we said were overrated. Absolutely. Let us know.
Definitely.
Whatever we can do to enjoy these movies more. So thanks for watching, guys. This was fun. We want to do more stuff like this. So again, please comment so we know. Topics. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think we have a good time when we do this. So yeah. whatever you got, let us know. So again, thanks as always for watching, guys, and until next time, have a good one.